Everyone, welcome to my kitchen. You're in the kitchen with KK. We're going to continue our series of summer-related videos for summer health. We've talked about the organs of summer being the heart and its partner, the small intestine. So tonight we're going to be talking more about food and the small intestine. So my name is Kimberly Knox. I am a certified integrative health coach. You know, my passion is about education and inspiring people to get back into the kitchen to heal their bodies, their families with just real simple whole foods. And so let's get on with this because so many people have been affected by gluten. It really didn't come into the market of vernacular until around 2010. And that's when I started hearing about gluten-free and my ears perked up. And then, of course, the corporate food companies started making gluten-free food. It's not all healthy, but let's dive into how and why we need to protect our small intestine. So the heart is the king of the body. It's considered the king. All the other organs will team up to help it. And the small intestine, very important. The reason it's the partner, this is where the absorption of nutrients take place, the major part of our absorption. The small intestine is supposed to be alkaline. However, with the standard American diet, with the undigested fats and protein from a sluggish liver, from low stomach acid, etc., and candida from too much sugars and junk food, alcohol, our small intestine is not always working optimally. Many different issues like SIBO and candida overgrowth, etc. We really need to keep this in balance so that, because we're not what we eat, we're what we absorb at the end of the day. So you know that I'm an author of Simple Cooking for Vitality. I wrote this book as a passion to help people become more mindful, have a healthy reverence for food, how important the choices are. But in each area, and in the small intestine area, I write up a little knowledge about that area so that you can have more understanding and interest in the food that helps support it and nutrients. So one of the biggest problems we have is leaky gut. It comes on slowly. There's different variations, gradations of leaky gut. I suffer from leaky gut and I'm still healing that. Dr. Mark Hyman suffered from leaky gut and other issues. So it talks about that here. The number one health issue we have is gastrointestinal type of diseases. It's a big area down here and a lot of stuff can go wrong and it creates a lot of nuisance because generally people are eating 3 times a day and adding to the issues. So one of the food sources, L-glutamine, I'm talking about the food sources in here where you can get it. You can take a supplement, doesn't taste half as good as fresh cabbage, coleslaw, and things like that, parsley, asparagus, spirulina, and bone broth. Of course, I have a bone broth recipe in here. So we also want to talk about simple gluten-free and understanding what that is. And there's gluten in so many things today, you know, the pizza, the pasta, the breads, the this. So what we have to do is find alternatives. Now, I'm going to bring up a few. I've cooked up this fusilli, and so there's different ones. This is a chickpea fusilli, actually, and this is a rice and lentil. So you're going to have to understand that sometimes the bean is mixed in with rice flour. What that does is it increases the overall carbs and it might lower the fiber as well because Explore brand makes a black bean pasta where the sugar conversion, meaning your net carbs, is so low that it's helpful, especially with people that are borderline type 2 diabetes or type 2 diabetes. So we have to take this into account, and you're going to want to read the carbs on the back. Bentilia, Bentilia, is a brand from Italy. I ran out, so I'm not using that one right now. But you are going to be getting more protein in these types of of pasta, so it produces something a little bit more productive than just your typical pasta. Now, of course, you can get pasta imported in from Italy, and you're not going to have generally the same problems. So we're going to be putting on a simple pesto, and the pesto is going to include moringa. Now, moringa was my superfood back in 2016. I keep this little thingy in here so I can remember, but so in the small intestine section, I do have a recipe for kale moringa pesto. We're going to be utilizing pistachios as well, putting in extra really good proteins. But moringa itself has 2 times the amount of protein, 3 times the calcium, 4 times the iron, and 2.5 times the fiber as kale. So when you mix them together, and I often suggest that people mix in moringa to their smoothies, you're increasing the nutrients. And that's what we're doing. We're feeding the cells in the mitochondria. We want the most nutrients possible. Of course, we have fresh basil. And this is a Tuscan kale. It's really great for pesto. You can use the curly kale or the red curly kale as well. So we're just going to feed this into the food processor here. Now I'm using my food processor a lot. Double the amount of basil. And this is such a simple recipe. However much garlic you love. So I'm going to love a little bit more than maybe some people. So I'm putting in a generous amount of cloves. The blades are going to blend this all up for us. And I'm going to be using very good high quality olive oil. And we're going to be using nutritional yeast. We're not putting in pesto. We're keeping all of the inflammatory factors down because, and many people, even if you're not feeling it, it creates a silent inflammation. So you really do need to limit, even if you think you're okay with dairy. Generally, the B blood types tend to be able to handle a little bit more, it appears, but that's something you have to work out. But when you go off gluten and dairy, what you feel is all of a sudden you're going to feel your joints not aching. That happens so often. And that's why in my cookbook, it is fully gluten and dairy free, just to show you how you can do that with real food. So we're putting in a half of a large lemon. If it's a small lemon, you can put the whole thing in. And then we're going to be adding in the moringa. Now, if you're a starter with moringa, you don't need a full tablespoon, just like half of that amount is fine. I'm putting in this little scoop right here. There we go. And we're going to drizzle on a little bit of olive oil, add some more after. So let's get this going. I'm going to make a little bit of noise. So these little spatulas are so helpful when you're making something like this. Get this down. Now that I've broken up the greens, we're going to be putting in the pistachios. Now, how do you do that? I soak them in boiling water. It also gets off any residue, but I buy raw pistachios. You want to get them roasted because often roasting is going to be adding different oils. Let's just protect my my fun shirt here. Dun, dun, dun. Oftentimes nuts are roasted in oils that are inflammatory, so it's best to buy raw. It's okay to have them lightly salted. Anyway, this is going to take it off. So let's get it. Now we're going to be adding in some really good protein here. And then when you're done, you can always add a few on top of the pasta just for extra crunch. So great to have a good food processor. It saves you time and energy, makes things super easy. Press a button. Now that you have a good meal, blend it up well, we're just going to finish it off with some more olive oil, and you'll get your consistency. This is a very quick recipe. It's also a recipe that you can freeze, which is perfect. Put it in smaller jars. That way you have it out. It's great to put on top of avocado toast, augment in many different ways. So this is looking amazing. So the normal nut that you would use is a pine nut in most pestos. Some people have allergies to pine nuts, very severe ones. You can also use walnuts. So this is a way to get extra good fats, omega-3s. Pistachio is a great one. You can also do a soaked macadamia nut pesto. So you can get really creative here. Now, this is pasta that's already done. Here, I like to use the fusilli because I like the way the pesto gets into the mix here. So it gets into the, I'm gonna add a little bit more oil. It gets right into the pasta creases there. So it creates such a delicious extra flavor. So here you are getting lots of really good plant-based protein. You're not getting gluten to disturb the mucosal lining. I'm going to save some of that to freeze. But you can see this was really quick. Honestly, this is a 15-minute meal because these plant-based pastas take about 10 minutes max to cook. Strain them, rinse them. You can also add a little bit more really good olive oil, but this is looking fantastic. Now, if you want to add more, if you want to get in more protein and fill up a little bit more on a plant-based meal, and generally whole food, plant-based or plant-rich is really great when you're going gluten-free because you are getting nutrients that are easy to break down, and that's the biggest thing. If you do have stomach issues, of course, doing an entire day on just bone broth is great. Getting a fast of 24 hours if you can, that will help your stem cells in the gut start to repair themselves. Here are white beans. These are cannelli beans, generally very easy to digest. The thing with beans, the lectins, they must be soaked properly. This brand, Eden brand, does a very good job of soaking, pressure cooking, and cooking in seaweed. So this is my preferred brand if you are getting a can. Otherwise, you need to soak and sprout and properly pressure cook them on your own. So you can add some beans to this, add in some pesto. We're going to clean up, come back. I'll show it all put together. This is super simple, super fragrant, and you're definitely going to want to cut up some fresh basil on top. This is so satisfying, but just know that you're getting some carbs in there. So this has to be on a carb loading day, or you just have to make sure that your total net carbs that day were not already eaten up. I love a ribbon cutting the fresh basil here. So anytime you're adding a fresh herb, now mind you, the entire pesto is raw. So you're not compromising any of the nutrients. You're not heating up the really strong, powerful phytonutrients that are found in the basil, anti-inflammatory, so cellular protective. You can mix in the white beans or just add them to the side. A little bit of cracked pepper, a little bit of sea salt. You notice I didn't add extra salt. The jar is all ready to go into the freezer. I love these wide mouth jars. Now, if you're not doing a pasta because you really do need to keep your net carbs way down, I suggest the Explore brand, which is this brand here, Explore brand cuisine. Locally, they sell it at Morton's, but you also can get this on Amazon. I suggest doing some kelp noodles. This way you get the feel of noodles, but here with the kelp, you are getting literally total 3. You're getting 2 grams of net carbs, so you're not really getting any sugar conversion here. So kelp noodles are a really great opportunity. So I hope you like that. Out of the small intestine, we really do need to think about the absorption of nutrients, why we're not feeling good. The disruption starts from your digestive system, low stomach acid, underperforming liver, non-performing or sluggish bile. So that all cascades down to the heart. And that's why heart disease is so directly related to our metabolic process. So yum, yum. Enjoy. This is a 15-minute meal that's fantastic. Thanks for joining me here in KK's Kitchen. Please share my videos. If you like them, give me a like. If you want to get notified, you know how to do that. Do the bell, follow my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, everyone.